Hi and welcome to this screencast. Today I'm going to be talking about the use of Vlookup in an Excel spreadsheet and how I used it effectively, hopefully, to create this quiz that you're looking at on the screen now. Still a multiple choice quiz, useful for learners to reinforce their learning, but this one's got a slightly added twist to it, which I quite like, and that is when a learner inserts an answer, A, B, C or D, we'll go for C being the right answer on question 1, and presses the return. It's going to tell them that they're correct. Great. It's going to give them a little bit of information on pad foundations, and then if they want to read more about it, think, well, okay, my knowledge is a little bit lacking in that area, I guessed, so let me just find out a little bit more. They can go onto the link and they can click about and read about pad foundations, which is quite useful. Of course, if they've put in the wrong answer, so if they put in A as a strip foundation, it's going to tell them, no, you're wrong, strip foundations are something else. It tells them where they're used, and if they click onto the link, it's going to give them additional opportunity to read about strip foundations. And that's featured all the way through in some of these. If I could just bounce into question 9, you'd use a tingle plate to support or stop a line from sagging, but if they weren't too sure and they decided to go for B, it'll tell them that they're incorrect. It'll tell them what a corner profile really is, and if they click into the link, they'll see a short video of corner profiles and how they're positioned.
Corner profiles are a handy tool used to save time when building corners.
So a useful tool, especially if learners are working independently of us, either at home or in a remote session at the college. And let me just take these back to naught and we'll look at how we actually achieve this. So this is what the user will see, the learner. Great, nice and simple for them, and but this information needs to come from somewhere, and where that information comes from, if I just highlight a couple of these at the top here and unhide columns, you can see how we set this up. So we've got our usual multiple choice template here, just with a feedback and a link, and this is where all of the information that we're going to transfer into here using an instruction in Excel called Vlookup. And then when we finished, and we just want to go back into that, we can just highlight and hide columns, and there we go. That's what the learner will see. You can lock that particular page. So let's have a look at how we do that transferring of information using Vlookup. And I'm going to come out of this particular document, which is in my storage system, my Google Drive. So this is, you're looking at a Google sheet right now, and I'm going to go back into Excel where I do the development work. And so if I come into here, and as you can see, it looks very similar. I'm just more comfortable working in this particular setup. You can see the title at the top. And I'm doing this tutorial because my colleague Will asked how we actually produce the template. So this is what the learners see. Here's the other stuff, and it's straightforward. So using the instruction Vlookup, this is how we transfer information from one to the other when the learner presses a response. So I'm going into the column F, and obviously the feedback to question 1. And we always start with an equals, and we're then going to use the instruction Vlookup. Now I can do one of two things. As I've started to type it in, look, it has come up. It's there, and I can either click on that twice with the left button. There you go. And I've got Vlookup brought up, and you'll notice it's also brought a little bracket after it. That's required between the written instruction and the numbers that we're going to start putting in, or the numbers and the letters we're going to start putting in. So let me just come back out of that, I'm going to actually type it in this time, just so there's no difference. Vlookup. The only thing I need to do is to manually enter the bracket, and it's now giving me a series of instructions. So this is what I'm going to look at. I'm going to end up with a Vlookup instruction, a bracket. I'm then going to put in the lookup value, a comma, table array, comma, the column index number, comma, and then the range lookup, and then close it off with a bracket. Okay, you must always, if you have a bracket in there, somewhere you've got to close it off somewhere else. So if I look at the lookup value is as simple as saying, where is the learner going to put the answer? Okay, so what numeric or what letter are we going to reference when we come to transferring some of the statements across? Well, the learner is going to place their answer in here. So I'm just going to click into here now, and you'll see it's brought up E8, which is the column and row that starts this space here. Now I haven't moved on to the table array yet because it hasn't put in a comma. Okay, so I'm going to enter the comma, and now it's moved on to the table array, and that's saying, okay, where are we going to get the information from? And I'm going to get the information from here. Okay, I need to take this full table across here. So I've got the 4 rows, A, B, C, D, and I've got 3 columns where I've got all of my information. I've got the statements and then the links. I'm only interested really at the moment in the statements, but my table array, as you can see, has gone from I8 down to K11 across here. It hasn't moved across on the instructions yet because I've omitted something, and that is the comma. So I'm going to put in a comma. It's now told me the column index. So out of these 3 now, which column do I want to extract information from? And we don't work on IJK or any of these letters at the top. This is column 1 in my table array. This is column 2 and this is column 3. It's the number of columns in the table array you have just highlighted. So 1, 2, 3. I want to take information from column 2. So I'll drop down back here and let's return. It's now telling me, do I want an approximate match or do I want an exact match? I want an exact match. Now I can either click on that twice on exact match. As you can see, it will bring up false, or alternatively, I can go back there and I can just type in false. And then as you can look at the end, I need to close off the bracket. So Vlookup is the instruction, then start your bracket. I've gone across to E8 where the learner is going to place their response. I've identified my table array. I've identified I want the information coming from column 2 and I want an exact match, and I've closed off the brackets, and when I press return now, that formula is complete. Whatever response I type in here now as a learner, I'm going to get the corresponding statement coming up like so. Okay, I'm just going to do it one more time for question 2, and that would be equals Vlookup bracket lookup value where the learner is going to place their answer, comma, remember the table array. Now my table array now is 1, 2, 3, 4, A, B, C, D there, and the 3 columns, comma, the index number will be number 2, and comma, and then false for the exact match. Close off the brackets. Now when I type in and press return, what I will get is the corresponding statements from one to the other. When I come in to do the links, I follow exactly the same principle. The only change I will make will be, instead of extracting the information from column 2, I will extract it from column 3. So you will put in the 3 instead of the 2. Once you've finished, hide all those cells, lock the sheet, and I'll just protect it, and you're away. Hope that's useful.